On the news, fresh leadership crisis in the African Democratic Congress as former governorship candidate of the party in Gombe State, Nafiu Bala, declares self-party chairman. Appeal Court affirms Lucky Aiyedatiwa's election as Ondo governor. And President Bola Tinubu preside over FEC meeting, swears in South his representatives in National Assembly Service Commission. It's a pleasure to have you join us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Okpeyemi Owosheni. We begin with politics as a fresh leadership crisis has erupted in the African Democratic Congress as a former governorship candidate of the party in Gombe State and former national deputy chairman Nafiu Bala has declared himself the interim national chairman of the party. At a press conference held in Abuja, Bala accused David Mark-led faction of illegally hijacking the party's leadership and violating its constitution. He vowed to challenge the move in court, describing it as a shameful political takeover orchestrated by outsiders. Bala's declaration follows the July 2 announcement by Ralph Nwosu, the party's founder and former national chairman, who dissolved the National Working Committee and endorsed an interim leadership headed by former Senate President David Mark.
We are all witnesses living witnesses to the show of shame and act of lawlessness being displayed by surrender and capitalization without any known precedent. In our democratic journey, constitutional order, we are therefore strongly to resolve and collectively determining the challenge this upfront and assure that the party line down to rules and stipulated provisions are respected and strictly adhered to by all those who belong to it. In case the individual choose to ignore our urgent calls to obey our constitutional guidelines and thus remaining very adverse and recalcitrant in order to aberrant behaviors, yes, we all proceed with goals to challenge their gross act of impunity in the court and bring them to the justice. It is give enormous pain in inundated you with their scandalous in happening in our great party, but we have been left with no other option to take in defense of our unalienable constitutional rights. As evident by the prevailing situation we now find ourselves in the party. In the history of democracy, all over the world, no party leader or any group of leaders have the power of arbitrarily transfer elected mandate to all political leaders or political authority to a non-member of who never belong to contestant for political office.
Meanwhile, the interim national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, David Mark, has issued a stern warning to party members, urging total commitment to the party's ideals and activities. Speaking at the party's National Executive Committee meeting, Mark emphasized that the ADC would no longer tolerate half-hearted participation, emphasizing that members must be fully on board or risk being sidelined. Promising collective leadership, Mark outlined plans to strengthen the party from the grassroots to the national level, restructure its bureaucracy, and also ensure inclusive governance. He highlighted a commitment to meaningful youth and women inclusion, announcing that 35% of leadership positions will be reserved for women and roles will be open to individuals under 40 years.
We will guarantee collective leadership at all levels. We will build a technically competent bureaucracy for the party and ensure a structured financing. All members will truly own the party. Every one of us here has equal rights in this party, and I want all of you to know that. We will be fair and just to all party members. We promise to be totally transparent. ADC will have zero tolerance for anti-party and any form of indiscipline. The General has spoken. You are either in ADC or you are not in ADC. There is no midway in this business. And those who are not with us, we will not carry them along. We shall advance our grassroots leadership structures to reflect modern realities. From the pooling units upwards, up to the national level, every organ will be re-energized. We will open the gates for the next generation. Our policies, nominations, and leadership roles will reflect meaningful inclusion of youths and women, and not just tokenism.
Still on politics, the Court of Appeal sitting in Akure has affirmed the election of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, upholding the election of the Election Petition Tribunal. Delivering its judgment on Thursday, the court ruled that Aiyedatiwa was duly elected by the people of Ondo State. Now, following the ruling, Jubilant Party's supporters gathered outside the courtroom to celebrate the victory. Reacting to the judgment, Governor Aiyedatiwa thanked God and described the ruling as a clear vindication of his mandate and confirmation of the people's will.
For this solidarity, for your unwavering support, not just today, it has always been. I want to thank you.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has issued a stern warning to state independent electoral commissions over the growing trend of announcing local government elections with just 21 days' notice, a move that violates the Electoral Act of 2022 and a standing Supreme Court judgment. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu raised the concern in Abuja during a courtesy visit by the leadership of the Forum of State Independent Electoral Commissions of Nigeria. Yakubu noted that giving only 21 days notice for local government elections undermines the credibility and legality of the electoral process, making it impossible for parties to conduct primaries, nominate candidates, campaign, or for commissions to conduct voter education, deploy staff, and ensure adequate security.
Conducting local government elections without serving the mandatory statutory notice long before the election contravenes the judgment of the Supreme Court. Recent announcement by a state electoral commission, which gives in effect 21 days notice, is not only a violation of the law and the subsisting judgment of the Supreme Court, it is also a practical problem. Within 21 days, how do you expect political parties to conduct primaries, nominate candidates, organize campaign, and for the Electoral Commission to conduct voter education, recruit and train ad hoc staff, manage logistics, and organize security for the election? It's practically impossible to do that within 21 days. So as the umbrella body of all state electoral commissions, carry this message to our members about the importance of complying with statutory timelines for the conduct of local government elections. The chairman mentioned financial constraint militating against SAICs. Money is never always readily available and sufficient for elections and electoral activities. But for SAICs, your challenge actually goes beyond funding. I believe that money is only a facilitator. But without a clear definition of processes and procedures, no amount of money will solve any problem.
And former lawmaker Dino Melaye has resigned from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, citing the party's inability to rescue Nigeria from what he described as prevailing political cankerworms. Melaye, a former senator for Kogi West, made this known on Thursday via a post on his official X handle, where he shared a signed resignation letter addressed to the PDP chairman in Ward 1, Ayeto Rugbede, Ijimu local government area of Kogi State. In the letter dated July 4, 2025, Milaye said the decision became imperative, citing what it described as the party's failure to rescue Nigeria from entrenched political decay. The 2023 governorship candidate of the PDP disclosed that after careful reflection on the state of the party, he could no longer in good conscience participate in its activities or support its agenda. Milaye's resignation adds to the growing wave of political realignment ahead of the 2027 general elections. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sworn in Uzo Kalu as a commissioner of the National Assembly Service Commission representing the Southeast Zone. Kalu took the oath of office and allegiance at the council chambers of the State House Abuja on Thursday, shortly before the commencement of the Federal Executive Council meeting. His confirmation by the Senate on May 20th followed the adoption of the Establishment and Public Service Committee's report, with the upper chamber noting that an earlier petition against his nomination had been investigated and dismissed by the Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions Committee. In other stories now, the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, has backed the introduction of compulsory and random drug integrated tests for students in tertiary institutions across the country. This decision followed a meeting in Abuja with the chairman and chief executive of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, retired Brigadier General Buba Marwa, where both parties discussed measures to curb substance abuse among students. In a statement by the agency spokesman, Femi Babafemi, the minister also approved the review of the current secondary school curriculum to incorporate updated drug education and committed to forming an inter-ministerial working group with the NDLEA. Babafemi said the NDLEA boss had proposed a three-pronged approach, revising drug education content in school, introducing standalone drug abuse prevention programs in secondary schools, and implementing a drug testing policy for tertiary institutions, including for new students, returning students, and random testing. Well, now joining us to discuss this further is the chairperson of the Drug Harm Reduction Advocacy Network Nigeria, Aniedi Akpan. Thank you for joining me on the news, Mr. Akpan. Now, the Minister of Education has endorsed compulsory and random drug testing for fresh and returning students in tertiary institutions, calling it necessary to address youth dysfunction and unemployability. Now, do you agree with this approach as effective and ethical?
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, in as much as I appreciate the work that is done by the NDLEA in terms of curbing drug trafficking and production in the country, I don't think that this approach to testing students is, or returning students and fresh students is right. Because the question we want to ask ourselves is what is the purpose and what is the end goal of the testing? After testing students and finding out, for example, that a student has used drugs, maybe cannabis during the holiday, or a new student is using drugs, what are we going to do? Are we going to expel the students? Are we going to put the students on rehabilitation? Is it a name or shame affair? Or what will we do? If it's a new student, are we saying we are going to deny students opportunity to persons opportunity to education because they simply use drugs? I don't think this is an approach. I think this approach will create more persons who are uneducated, who will increase the unemployability, which is one of the things that the commission says, the agency says, or Brigadier Marwa says he wants to stop. It will actually make that problem, exacerbate the problem, because if you're not allowing students in school, then it means that you're having people who are not educated enough to take up job opportunities. So I don't think this is the right approach. I think it's going to cause a lot of problems. It's going to, apart from that, increased stigma and discrimination of persons. And we need to understand that also, that not everybody uses drugs that is dependent. There may be persons who over the holiday would have maybe because of peer pressure, or unknowingly even going to someone's house and someone has used maybe cannabis to cook, and then the person takes the drug out of no volition of their own. They did not willingly take these drugs, and then you go test them, understanding that cannabis is one drug that can stay in the body for over 3 months, and And of course, after 1 month, you go back to school and you're tested and you're found to have drug in your system. What next? Are we going to punish them? What next? I don't think this is the right approach. I think introducing drug education, drug prevention education into the curriculum is a very good initiative, but also we need to also understand that when you use the scare tactics of telling students that if they use drugs, this is what is going to happen. It does not usually work. In fact, it increases the curiosity of students or persons who have not used drugs to want to use drugs. And then looking at the other alternative, which is to provide alternative activities over drug use. What are we doing about that? Have we devoted the resources? Have we included that in the budget for the next year, or is it already in the budget? So those are the questions we need to ask ourselves and not just go into something without properly thinking about it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Akpan. You just mentioned now that you do not quite agree with the proposal of the Minister of Education. So now, briefly, I would like you to let us know what else you think can be done to prevent drug abuse among students in tertiary institutions.
Okay, so what I think can be done to prevent drug abuse is we need to provide alternative activities to activities that promote drug use. We need to also look at those activities look at those things that kind of promotes drug use. We need to look at our entertainment industry. We need to look at the growing menace of Yahoo schools, like HK schools, that's what they call it, where people go to learn how to do internet fraud, because those are places where people are inducted into drug use. We need to look at the activities of cultism, look at, induction into cultism. That is also another place where people get inducted into drug use. And when we look at all of this and we're able to provide alternative activities like sports, like we are able to bring back, the technical training system, have systems where people can learn entrepreneurial skills and other things instead of going for drugs. Because I can tell you that most times people go into drug use out of not having, what they say, that the idle mind is the devil's workshop, out of not having any activity to engage them. So we need to bring back productive activities into tertiary institutions, and then that way we'll be able to get
how much we can take. The chairperson of the Drug Harm Reduction Advocacy Network, Nigeria, Mr. Aniedi Akpan, thank you very much for sharing your insights on the news. Moving on to other stories now, the Police Service Commission has called for the cooperation of the Federal Character Commission ahead of the forthcoming recruitment exercise into the Nigeria Police Force, warning that it will decisively deal with any individual involved in fraud or racketeering during the process. Chairman of the PSC, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police Ashimu Arungu, issued the warning during a courtesy visit to the Acting Executive Chairman of the FCC, Kayode Oladele, and members of its management team in Abuja. Arungu noted that although the recruitment date is yet to be announced, the PSC is determined to recruit only qualified Nigerians, ensuring the process is marked by equity and merit.
Going by the act establishing the Commission, Federal Character Commission, there are certain things to look for. Gender issue has to be considered. Local governments, states, and geopolitical has to be considered. And to make it more equitable, not equality, if within the local government or state or geo, certain things are not being paid, the numbers can be shared within that geopolitical something. I think is more of equity there.
A diverse and inclusive police force is better positioned to build public confidence, deter insecurity, and serve all citizens without bias, thereby reinforcing the pillars of the renewed hope agenda of the President. The Police Service Commission, as the institution responsible for appointments, promotions, and disciplinary control in the Nigerian police force, plays a crucial role in the administration of justice and the security architecture of our nation. Your responsibilities intersect significantly with the constitutional mandate of the Federal Character Commission, particularly in the area of equitable distribution, representation, and inclusiveness in the composition and operation of the police force.
We'll go on a short break here, but still to come on news now. Suspect in Melbourne synagogue arson attack appears in court. Details of the story right after this break. Welcome back. Now let's take you through a recap of our top stories. A fresh leadership crisis has erupted in the African Democratic Congress ADC as a former governorship candidate of the party in Gombe State and former National Deputy Chairman Nafiu Bala has declared himself as the interim national chairman of the party. We also informed you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sworn in Uzo Kalu as a commissioner of the National Assembly Service Commission representing the Southeast. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on X, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Wabi App Gallery and Apple Store. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
Because when you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Digi 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
Digi 360, dissecting the issues.
Now for the latest in business, Simisola Adugun joins us with the details. Simi.
Thank you very much, Opeyemi. Welcome to Business News. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has reported that the average retail price of premium motor spirit, PMS, popularly called petrol, rose to 1,037 naira per litre in June of 2025. This represents a 38.32% year-on-year increase compared to 750 naira 17 kobo per litre recorded in June 2024. According to the NBS data, Jigawa State recorded the highest average price of 1,107 naira per litre, followed closely by Ondo State at 1,104 naira and Lagos State at 1,100 naira. On the flip side, Yobe State posted the lowest average price at 950 naira per litre, with Kogi and Imo State following at 986 naira and 987 naira respectively. We'll take a short break and we'll return with stock and forex market reports. Stay with us. Nigeria's main stock market index furthered its bullish stance on Thursday, July 31, rising to 139,864 points. Trading recorded a gain of 0.42% from the previous session. Now, the current market capitalization stands at 88.4 trillion naira. In total, 127 NGX listed equities participated in trading, ending with 28 gainers against 54 losers. UAC of Nigeria tops the gainers chart with a 10% share price appreciation, closing at 80 naira 30 kobo per share, followed by Wema Bank at 22 naira per share. Now, at the close of Thursday's trading session on the NGX, over 1 billion shares corresponding to a market value of 32 billion naira were traded in 37,365 deals. Meanwhile, foreign market indices were mixed as data showed signs of rising inflation, and investors watched for last-minute trade deals ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump's August 1 deadline. Our select UK's FTSE traded below the U.S. Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei, leaving it in the bears. Now back to home front, the Naira traded against the U.S. dollar at 1,534 Naira, the British pound at 2,029 Naira, and against the Euro at 1,760 Naira. That's your business and stock and forex market report. Over to Okwayemi for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Simi. And on the foreign scene, a 21-year-old man, Giovanni Lahulu, has appeared in the Melbourne Magistrate Court on Thursday, 7 months after a suspected arson attack on the Adas Israel synagogue that shocked Australia and prompted a large-scale investigation. Lahulu was arrested after a Melbourne home on Wednesday and is being accused of one of 3 marksmen who allegedly spread liquid accelerant inside the synagogue before setting it ablaze before dawn on December 6, 2024. According to police authorities, a worshipper preparing for morning prayer sustained minor burns during the attack, which caused significant damage to the building and drew nationwide condemnation. And finally, on sport, former Super Falcons striker Patience Odeli has accused Nigerian government and Nigeria Football Federation officials of failing to reward her generation, which brought international glory to the country. The 49-year-old said she and her teammates who won the Women's Africa Cup of Nations 4 times and featured in 4 FIFA Women's World Cups were not adequately appreciated for their contributions to Nigerian football. And that's our bulletin on news now at this time. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Okbayemi Owosheni. See you next time.